Boxing legend Frank Bruno today reveals the two devastating blows that almost push him over the edge in his battle with bipolar disorder. In a shocking crime that the former world heavyweight champion calls the ultimate betrayal, someone close to him stole more than £300,000 of his savings while he was locked in a secure psychiatric hospital. Then he was nearly blinded in a vicious, unprovoked street attack. The damage caused, revealed in his new book Let Me Be Frank, serialized exclusively in the Mirror, set off a chain of events that left the 54-year-old national treasure locked in the toughest fight of his life, with his mind. Being heavyweight champion of the world taught me a lot, but it made me realize one thing above all, that everything you fight for, everything you dream of, everything you build up, can be snatched away in the blink of an eye. Let your guard slip, then boom, you are out. Frank believed he would never be let out of hospital after being sectioned again. Image Adam Gerard Sunday Mirror. It happened to me on March 16, 1996, when Mike Tyson turned out the lights on my boxing career. Then it happened to my happiness, health and liberty too. I know my condition inside out now, better than any opponent I faced in the ring. People always ask me how does it make you feel. I always sigh. I'm not being difficult, but I will try to explain. When my illness takes hold, the world swings from high to low. I can see the change coming, but I can't stop it. It is like a force of nature, a haymaker of a right hook that rocks me from side to side. Have you ever been caught outside in a horrendous storm and started panicking that the strength of the wind might knock you off your feet? When my bipolar strikes, it feels as if that wind is constantly pushing me back. My world is covered by a fog. Little of what is going on around me matters. Light or dark, day or night, summer or winter, the world I see will be the same shade of gray. The hardest thing is not knowing when my condition will hit or how long it will stick around. Boxing was straightforward. I trained, I prepared, I stepped in the ring. When I saw a punch coming, I moved quickly, or I defended myself. Then, bang, I made sure I knocked out my opponent before he had the chance to reload. Frank struggles with bipolar disorder. Image Adam Gerard Sunday Mirror. My bipolar, though, appears from the shadows, and it is impossible to defend yourself against a punch you can't see. I face it and I fight it. But even when I beat the crap out of it, I know deep down it may come back. That's what happened in 2003 when I was sectioned for the first time. It came after the most distressing period of my life. My marriage had broken down and my world collapsed. My wife Laura and my 3 kids moved out, and suddenly I was alone. I was trying, and failing badly, to cope with retirement from the ring. Then in 2002 my former trainer George Francis took his life. That was the final blow. Without my family around me, with my career over and my corner man gone, my mental health suffered. When they took me to Good Mays Hospital in Romford, on September 22, 2003, I was kicking and screaming. Frank says the breakdown of his marriage led to him being sectioned for the first time. Image Adam Gerard Sunday Mirror. The treatment I received rescued me. When I got out 6 weeks later, I thought I'd come through the toughest battle of my life. I was called Bonkers Bruno on the front of the Sun. Overnight, my world changed. Suddenly Frank Bruno, sporting hero, was now Frank Bruno, the man with a mental health problem. Then came the news of the ultimate betrayal. A few weeks after I got out, my management team were asking a lot of questions about money. My accountants were freaking out at the amount of cash flying out of my account. The phone would ring and I'd be asked, "Frank, what's going on? What are you buying?" I explained that I was barely going outside the front door. I told them all I was focused on was getting better. I was terrified people wouldn't believe me and the doctors would cart me back to the hospital. So if I wasn't spending the cash, then who was mugging me off? I pleaded with my accountants to check it out. That's when things took a sinister turn. When the bank manager started to follow the money leaving my account, it all became clear. I was called in for a meeting and presented with the evidence. Someone close to me had set up a system to take money from my account month after month. Frank was in hospital when he was told of suspicious activity on his bank account. Image Adam Gerard Sunday Mirror. I could hardly get my head around what they were saying. When I was married, my wife Laura always dealt with the finances. So after we got divorced, I allowed someone else to have access to my money and help me manage things. But that wasn't the worst of it. This betrayal started when I was sick and helpless, forcibly locked up, and went on for a long time afterwards. When I was on my knees, this person who was supposed to be helping me had decided to take my money. I can't tell you who it is. They know who they are and how heartbroken I am. I know there will be a guessing game now as to who it is. But I don't care. To move forward, I need to be open about my past. We no longer talk to one another and I doubt we will again. The person sent me a letter admitting what they did, trying to make peace. But I'm not able to. I could have called in the police. But when I discovered the fraud, my main priority was to get back peace of mind, not bring more heat down on me. Only, my divorce has caused me more pain. Starr said the money being taken was the ultimate betrayal. Image Adam Gerrard Sunday Mirror. In all, £300,000 was taken from my bank account. I'm still owed more than £100,000 and the matter is now in the hands of my lawyers. I need to talk about what happened because I want people to understand how hard I have found it to trust people since retiring from boxing. The fraud didn't just break my heart, it left me fighting for my sanity and sent me into a downward spiral. I started to withdraw into my own world. I didn't feel as if I could trust anyone. I shut myself off. I'd gone from fighting in front of 30,000 people to spending most days on my own in the lounge. When I did venture outside, the way people looked at me had changed. People crossed the road rather than stop to say hello. It felt like being back in Panto. Look out, it's Frank, and he's behind you. I heard the whispers. I clocked the looks. Sometimes I felt tempted to walk down the street wearing my champion's belt to remind the world there was more to me than a man who'd lost control of his mind. Others were far more cruel. Frank says he was treated differently after his mental health problems became public knowledge. Image Daily Mirror. In the autumn of 2011, I was enjoying a day out shopping at Bovingdon Market near my home in Bedfordshire with my daughter Nicola. Above the noise of the traders, I heard a geezer shout, "Frank, oi, Frank!" I felt a hand on my shoulder and turned around expecting to see a friendly face or someone asking for a selfie. Instead, there was a guy with pure evil in his eyes. "Here you go, have this," he sneered. Then he headbutted me in the face. Oblivion. Suddenly I was dazed, on the ground, out of it. That hadn't happened since the day Tyson knocked me down. I sat there in shock. Then, suddenly, there was a moment of clarity. I was Frank Bruno. I had to get up. I couldn't let people see me like this. I hadn't felt rage like it since my days in the ring. I wanted to find the guy, get in his face, teach him some manners. But had long gone. Where would it get me? A police cell, probably. The ex-athlete was randomly headbutted in the street. Image Rex Shuttershock. Of course, I should have got the old Bill involved. But I was ashamed. I didn't want to relive it. I was a big man, a former world heavyweight champion, and I'd been reduced to nothing. Now I can see that way of thinking is stupid. The only person I told was my doctor. I had to have an operation to put right the damage. If I hadn't, the docs said I could have been blinded. But the scars ran deep. From nowhere, after years of keeping my illness at bay, it was creeping up on me. I was starting to lose control. Things were beginning to unravel. But I didn't expect what came next. Here Frank describes the moment in April 2012, just weeks after the attack, when his mental health spiraled out of control and he was forced to go back into hospital. "I was dancing when my world fell apart. Jigging around the kitchen with the iPod on, headphones and music up full blast. So I didn't hear the knock. But when the track ended, the bang of a fist on the front door boomed through my house like a sledgehammer smashing concrete. "I'm not interested in double glazing," I shouted as I went to the door. But the 6 police officers standing there weren't smiling. "Frank Bruno?" when asked. My first thought was someone had died. Then I saw a woman standing in the middle of my driveway, clutching a handful of papers. Then I saw the ambulance. I knew it was there to take me away. "Frank, you need to come with us," she said. Now, the former heavyweight champion's new book, Let Me Be Frank. I froze. "I don't need to go anywhere," I said firmly, stepping back into the hall. "Come on, Frank," said one of the coppers. "You need to come with us." "There's nothing wrong with me," I pleaded. "Come on, Frank," said another. "I want to stay here," I kept insisting. By now the woman with the papers had moved center stage. Then one of the coppers started laughing. "Please don't laugh at me," I said to the officer. "If you laugh, they'll take me away." It was too late to plead with them. The decision had already been made. As I walked towards the ambulance, a huge wave of nausea swept across me. "Not again, Frank," my head was telling me. "You won't get out this time, you know." When they loaded me into the ambulance, I saw a crowd of neighbors at the bottom of the drive. I shut my eyes so I didn't see their faces. They were still tightly shut when a voice said they were taking me to a hospital in Basildon, Essex. Then the ambulance doors opened and, as I was ushered inside, I realized I was now patient Frank. The hospital door slammed behind me, the lock to the psychiatric ward clicked, then everything went dark. And I truly believe I would never get out. Let Me Be Frank is available from Mirror Books at the exclusive offer price of £15 RRP £20, saving £5 on orders placed by October 19, including free delivery. Order direct at www.mirrorcollection.co.uk or call 0845 143 0001. UK only. Extracted by Dan Warburton.